A growing trend that's emerging in the crypto market right now is that for the past 6 months, a lot of users have been starting to migrate onto Base, a layer 2 scaling solution that's incubated by Coinbase in order to solve a lot of the issues associated with Ethereum and other layer 1s like Solana. Since July of 2023, when the Base mainnet went live, you saw it quickly take off with a lot of users adopting to Base. If you take a look at the charts, notice how we started off with only a couple of thousand people right here, and it quickly exploded in August, September, blowing way past the 2-3 million mark. And then as we get to current date right over here, we have about 6 million current cumulative users on Coinbase's Base Layer 2. And the daily transaction volume has now reached over 2 million with about 116 million transactions that's already been executed on this layer 2. And the daily active users who are logging in and executing transactions on Base have now touched over 400,000 of daily active users. And if we compare Base to all the other layer 2 scaling solutions within an 8-month period, it is now sitting in third, only behind Arbitrum and Optimism, with over $3 billion of total value locked when you consider all assets on Base. So for those of you who are new to the channel, my name is Colin, welcome. What I do is that I cover interesting and projects that I believe is valuable that would add some value to your own journey in crypto. Now before I get started, remember that none of this is financial advice. The crypto market is extremely volatile and risky, and most people lose their money. So make sure you do your own due diligence and research before you get invested into anything. Finally, I'm not sponsored by any of these projects that I talk about on the videos. I will always disclose my positions in any project that I have. I know on crypto Twitter and YouTube there are a bunch of people looking to dump on their followers, but this is not what this channel is about. I'm like all of you, I work a 9-to-5 job. I work hard on these videos to try to get out the information that I believe would have helped me when I started out in my journey. So with that out of the way, let's get started. In order to understand why Base is an important and upcoming opportunity, we have to look at the competitors. Now, outside of Bitcoin, it's obvious Ethereum is the 800-pound gorilla in the room with over $400 billion market cap, and anyone who's touched anything related to crypto will have touched into ETH. The other closely related layer is Solana, okay, the other L1. Now, Solana is growing quickly, rapidly, with over $87 billion. Now, I'm going to talk about the positives of Base, but at the same time, I want you to know that ETH and Solana are some of my favorite chains. There are issues related with every single chain, and it is not just specific to these two. So for those of you who are new to crypto, I just wanted to bring this up, the blockchain trilemma, which every single layer 1 solution aspires to be. What you want to be able to do is you want to have an ecosystem where it is decentralized, it is scalable, and then it is secured. If you can achieve all three things, that would be the ideal solution for everybody. And although Ethereum was a significant leap within the blockchain and crypto industry, it is still not scalable. What I mean by that, for those of you who are new, who haven't been using ETH, is that sometimes it's so expensive to execute a transaction that it makes it non-usable. If you take a look through all of these transactions right over here, you can see that some of them ranging from $30 to $60 to over $140. Sometimes it gets super expensive, $650, and then it can go up to the $1,000 range. And then, as crazy as it sounds, take a look at this transaction right here where somebody failed to execute a transaction in order to mint one of the NFTs, the overdeeds, and it cost them over 10 grand of a failed transaction. So even as groundbreaking as Ethereum is, and I am a daily user of ETH, unfortunately, it's decentralized, it's secured, but it's not scalable because of those fees. You can't execute a transaction where the fees are like 30%, 40%, or even sometimes 100% of the transaction fee is equated to the same value of that transaction you wanted to execute it. You can see how this quickly becomes non-scalable to the large masses of people. And then the other chain that I really enjoy using is Solana. It's really quick, it's fast, it's cheap, and it's smooth to use. But unfortunately, the problem with Solana is that it's not secured and it's not reliable. And I say that with the most respect because during the past, Solana's been down for hours to days. Now, imagine adopting Solana for our current financial system right now, and it goes out for like hours to days. You can see how really quickly this cannot be adopted at this current moment in time until improvements are made. So this is where Base comes in, because as you can see with the current solutions, it just doesn't cut it. Now Base is built as an Ethereum layer 2 scaling solution that is supposed to be secured, fast, and scalable. It's built with the Optimism's open source OP stack, therefore making it very robust. So for those of you who are new and who are just hearing about Coinbase's layer 2 right now, you may think that's just another layer 2 like among the rest of them and just another cash grab. But actually that's not true, because Coinbase has been thinking about this since 2016, so over 8 years ago, and building towards their master plan of building an open financial system. If you read down here into their paper, they started off talking about the different protocols and what they're focused on, developing the protocol 1 million people onto Bitcoin and Ethereum. We had that happen. Next thing was build a digital currency exchange with over 10 million people. Right now, Coinbase has over 100 million users, okay? So they tapped into this phase 3 right over here, built a mass market interface where there's over 100 million people using it. So one of the key things about the Base ecosystem is that it's incubated by Coinbase. So when they decide to turn on the tap and allow retail users and retail investors into this Base layer 2 ecosystem, and they open up the floodgates, you're going to see a tremendous amount of money flow into this Base ecosystem. So how's this going to happen? Well, after the Denkun upgrade in the Ethereum ecosystem, you can see the prices per transaction on layer 2s have dropped tremendously. And taking a look at Base closely here, it's dropping from 58 cents to literally a penny for simple executed transactions on Base. So it has that scalability while enjoying the security of being built as a layer 2 scaling solution on Ethereum. Let's just quickly remind ourselves how important it is to be able to access Coinbase's ecosystem. Now, number one is I like Coinbase's approach. Unfortunately, Binance is no longer available in the US. Also, as you know, FTX has gone to collapse. Sam has just went to jail. And then what does it do? It leaves one major player in the room. Coinbase has built the infrastructure. They're at the forefronts of legislation. You can see Brian Armstrong, their CEO, is always out there in Congress talking about Coinbase and sticking by the rules and playing within the legal framework. That's one thing that I will respect Coinbase for, and that going forward, they have built a huge moat between them and any competitors that's coming in. Now, if you take a look at Coinbase's stats right over here, outside of the 100 million users that they have on their platform, you can see that last year's total revenue was out of the ballpark with 3.1 billion, okay? And their adjusted EBITDA right over here is almost $1 billion. Net revenue was positive, and they are growing across the global ecosystem. As you can see, Coinbase has over 10 years of operational history in the US and is a publicly traded company. So Base has all those benefits from a mature parent company that has over 100 million users that's following the law of the land. Now, believe me, if Base had a coin just like BNB or like ETH, like Solana, I would be fully in on Base. Now, unfortunately, they don't because of all the regulations and things that's been happening within the US, the SEC going after people like XRP and other companies, and now even looking at ETH closely. That's the reason why Base does not want to get into this mess. So as a result of all of the things we talked about, this is why Base is blowing up. You can see from a post right over here from Jesse Pollock, who is the CEO of Base, who's running Base. You can see the TVL of Base is growing in an exponential manner, right? It took 200 days to get to the first 1 billion, then 20 days to the second billion, and then literally 5 days to get to that $3 billion. So as you can see from the on-chain data, a lot of money and people are flowing into the Base ecosystem. But I believe we are still in the infancy and we are very early. So I'm going to talk about a couple of projects just to illustrate what I'm looking at within the Base ecosystem and how I'm thinking about it. Now remember that none of this is financial advice. I'm not endorsing any of these projects, and then also I'm not sponsored by any of these projects, but it helps me think about the Base ecosystem and what I should be looking out for. Now, before I start talking about these project specifics, I've been getting a lot of questions on Twitter, X, and then also on YouTube, how to execute these things mechanically. So let me just show you guys, and especially for the new people, because Base is fairly new, not everybody would have migrated onto Base. So there's two ways to do it. Number one, if you have a Coinbase account, it's pretty easy. You go into your Coinbase wallet and you execute this. Number two is what most people would have, which is a MetaMask Web3 wallet. you first go to Base's official website at base.org. Right over here at the upper tabs, you click on Bridge. When you click on the Bridge, you should see this, okay? So your wallet would have been connected, so it would have shown up your MetaMask wallet right over here. You first transfer the amount of ETH. Let's say you wanted to do 1 ETH or 0.5 ETH, whatever that is, into this value right over here, USDC. You execute and you deposit this, and when you deposit this, you have to go over to transactions. It will ask you to connect your wallet, and then you could see your transactions in here, even those that are in transit. So you don't have to worry about your money being lost anywhere else. And if you have problems, you can always reach out to Coinbase right over here. Okay, so they have a couple of things. They have a Discord so that you can get connected with the right people. So that's how you transfer your money onto the Base ecosystem. So you can't really talk about Base without talking about ETHEREUM. This is the first project I'm going to mention because it is the first DeFi project on Base. Now, if you take a look at ETHEREUM's chart, it has gone nuclear. If we look back here in February, literally February 23rd, it's trading less than 10 cents, and it does a 20x, okay, jumping all the way close to $2 and then cooling off a bit. Now, I'm not personally invested in ETHEREUM. I have no stakes in it. I'm not paid by them. I only bring this up to show you what could happen on Base when you are early. Now, they are a DeFi product. They are a DEX just like all the other DEXs on Solana, on Ethereum would be. And if we hop right over here onto ETHEREUM, we can see that it is like most other projects on Solana or Ethereum. You basically go over to the swap function, you see that the swap is loading up. So you can compare it to projects like Radium on Solana, on Ethereum that would be Uniswap, it would be Pancake on BNB, and it would be Joe on AVAX. But it is one of the very first projects on Base. That is why it has been taking off. And if you take a look at DeFi Llama, you can see that the TVL on ETHEREUM has been growing since the launch of Base. If you compare it to its peers right over here, Radium's over 600 million in TVL, ETHEREUM has 470 million, and then something like Trader Joe at less than 100 million today. But when you compare the price, ETHEREUM's market cap is 242 million as of right now, and then Radium is 550 million, and then finally Trader Joe at 316 million. You can see that ETHEREUM Finance is a little bit undervalued compared to its peer given the TVL. And of course, it also has first mover advantage. Now, it won't get to a unicorn like Uniswap right over here, where it has about $7 billion, and Uniswap touched well over $10 billion during the last cycle with a lot of TVL locked in, but it's a small project that continues to grow as the Base ecosystem is growing. So that's ETHEREUM Finance. I just brought it up as an example. I have absolutely zero stake in this project, but what I would do is I will look for further DeFi projects that are coming to Base. So if you think about Solana, Radium was very good, but when Jupiter came along, in my experience, Orca and Jupiter are a way better product than Radium right now, and I would always prefer to use Jupiter over Radium. So that's what I'm watching out for. Not necessarily investing in ETHEREUM, but with a better project and a better product on Base, I will be looking at DeFi very closely. So besides DeFi projects, I think a lot of interesting things are going to come to Base, especially with gaming on layer 2, such as Base, where it's secured and it's cheap to be able to execute transaction. Now, I'm going to mention this project right over here. Again, I have zero stakes in this project. I thought it was interesting that they are migrating from ETH onto Base. We will see a lot of other games come to fruition. This is just the infancy of things. So the game that I'm talking about is ETHEXY. So right over here, it's always hard to pronounce, okay? ETHXY, so I pronounce it as ETHEXY. You'll see their ticker symbol name is actually sexy. Now, this game hasn't launched yet right over here. They're talking about how you can create a character by April the 2nd. Not a lot of followers. With 30,000 followers, it's still in its infancy right over here. And if you go down, one of the things that leaped out at me, so I'm just going to blow this up here so that we can see easier. You can see that their pre-seed funding round involves a lot of different funders and a lot of different people. But what leaps out to me is right here. One of the funders is A16Z. For those of you who do not know, Andreessen Horowitz is one of the biggest VC firms within the business. So I just thought it was really cool that they actually funded this game. And you can see that you have until April the 2nd in order to create your character on their game. If we just jump right over here onto their website, you can see they have a picture of, this is basically the CryptoPunk that Jesse Pollack, the founder of Base, is using. They're migrating over to Base, and then if you click on get in line, it'll actually take you to your mobile app. So they're game will be mobile. If we jump over to CoinMarketCap, we can see that the token has been up big since the migration, okay? Since they started talking about it, early this month, the token was literally trading down here at 30 cents, and it's basically 10x from there. The point that I'm bringing this up, and again, I have no stakes in this game, I just see interesting things and I notice things that as they start to migrate over to Base. So this is one of the first games to migrate over to Base. They are doing extremely well. The market cap is still relatively small. I would say like $20, $30 million, $40 million, not a massive market cap, but it has made a move. So please do not buy in right away. My personal take on all of these projects is when they moon, I do not FOMO. I wait for entries. I always get these comments on Twitter and then on YouTube about why do you talk about these projects when they have just moon? I'm not telling people to buy in, and you should not be buying into anything or any advice based on what somebody says on YouTube. You should do your own research and take a look at it. For me personally, I pay attention to these things because the next game that's launching on Base, or when there's a major pullback on one of these small caps, let's say for example, the sexy token, ETHEREUM, this project, if this thing pulls back to like 15 million or 20 million market cap, I'm looking at an entry point. I do not FOMO in. And even if this runs away, that's okay. There's 1,000,002 other opportunities. I will not be like other, crypto influencers or YouTubers who tell you, you got to get in now. No, you do not have to get into any project. And if you miss out on these projects, don't worry. There'll be next opportunities, okay? So do not FOMO in. That is a big mistake to make within this market. Now, I'm just going to finish off by showing another example, another category where a lot of TVL, so a lot of money is flowing into Base. Now, I'm going to talk about meme coins. To be very clear, meme coins are worth nothing. They have zero intrinsic value. And in my opinion, to be honest, it's a lot of degenerate gambling. Like everybody has that degeneracy in them. I do not recommend anybody to put any money into meme coins. And if you were ever thinking about meme coins, you have to go into it with the thought of, I'm going to lose everything tomorrow. Okay. Now, to show you why it's been degenerate gambling, if you look at Zach's post on Twitter right over here, he summarized it pretty well. He posted this in March 19th when he says over 796,000 souls with the equivalent of 150 million were sent to pre-sales. So there's been a lot of projects on Solana that went to pre-sales. And I kid you not, these pre-sales are people putting up, and sometimes it's anons, we don't even know who they are, a contract address, and people are sending money to them. And if you take a look at some of the projects right over here, I won't single out any projects, but you can see these are in the tens of millions of dollars. And the recent project right over here was Machi raised $40 million. So these are all on-chain data that you could see for yourself. 216,000 souls were sent to this project. And these creators, they can disappear at any time, but you can see the degenerate gambling that's going on, that's spilling over. So firing through these meme coins, the first is Brett. You can't talk about meme coins on Base without mentioning Brett because it's taken on an astronomical jump. So Brett is based on and inspired by Matt Fury's creation. He talks about Pepe. So Brett is basically one of Pepe's homies. If you go through here, you see that they only have 31,000 followers. It's continuing to grow. But when you take a look at the price of Brett, so we're just going to jump right over here. You can see that it's trading at 8 cents right now, but the market cap has gone insane. It's 712 million. And for a lot of people, they think that Brett's going to blow way past $1 billion. It's going to be likely the leading meme coin on Base. Next example is Normie. Normie is another interesting example that is growing on Base. Even though it has only 14,000 followers on Twitter, it's growing quite significant at this time. And if you take a look at Normie's chart right over here, right now, the market cap is literally trading at close to 100 million with liquidity of roughly almost $2 million, okay? 17,000 holders, so it continues to grow on Base. So another project popping up is Toshi. It's basically a meme coin based on Brian Armstrong's cat. It's growing right now in terms of its user base. You can see 29,000 on Twitter. And then if you take a look right over here on the charts, Toshi has touched a $200 million market cap. So these are not small coins. This is serious money flowing into meme coins. Just like on Solana, it is blowing up over on Base. So those three meme coins, everybody's talking about on Base right now, and everybody knows about them. It's already too late for them. And of course, with meme coins, it could be zero tomorrow. So make sure you do not invest in what you can't lose the next day the minute you put it into these meme coins. Now, one last mention that I thought was an interesting project on Base right over here, and I'll tell you my reasons why for them, is Blow. Okay, so Blow is an interesting meme project on Base right over here. It says Blow is a homeless soul, was rescued by the streets by Brian, they're referring to Brian Armstrong, and then Jesse Pollack, who is the founder of Base. Okay, they found him a home where he met his companions. So the art of it, I think, is actually pretty cool. For once, it's not a dog, it's not a cat, it's not some other animal, and it is an interesting project. And if you take a look at their art, they kind of make fun of everything, right? Captain Blow Sparrow instead of Jack Sparrow right over here. Instead of, dog with a hat, blow with a hat. So they try to come on it from a different angle. So here's Jesse Pollack. This is going back to the Dragon Blow Z instead of Dragon Ball. I thought it was Street Fighter, but those of you who don't get the reference, don't worry about it. Okay. So just a lot of interesting things, relatable memes to current culture instead of Forrest Gump, Boris Gump. Okay. With Tom Brady right over here. Super Bowl champs, Tom 12 Bloody, okay? So they make fun of a lot of different types of things, and I think it has a cool meme, so, its community may be growing. And if you look at the amount of followers, so it only has 7,000 followers. What's interesting is right here, followers okay? Right over here, if I go down to one of the followers that I know is actually Jesse Pollack, okay? The founder of Base. The founder of Base it looks like he's supporting this project because he has very positive things to say about this project. And if we jump right over here onto DEX2, we can see right here, it still has a relatively small market cap. When I say small market cap, it's small relative to all of the other tokens, okay? So right over here, it has about $5 million market cap, almost 6 million, with roughly almost 7,000 holders and a liquidity of almost 400,000. You can see that at its max right over here, it's gotten all the way up to $24.7. That means $25 million. But like anything else, meme coins run fast and they have a correction. So Blow does look like an interesting project to me. It's got unique art. It seems to be supported by the community and Jesse Pollack himself, who likes them and follows along. Now, I do have a tiny exposure, very little. It will not change my life if tomorrow I wake up, Blow goes to $1 or they go to, $20, $30. It would not change my life. But I just thought it was a cool project. Okay, so full disclosure, I do have a tiny position in Blow right now. Finally, if you want to check out some projects on Base, you can actually go to Coinbase Ventures. They talk about the ecosystem fund right over here. There's over 800 applications into the Base ecosystem fund, but they only selected 6 investments. So you can check out these investments right here. I don't have enough time today to talk about them, but I thought that some projects were cool. And if you go to Coinbase Venture in their portfolio, you can spot out any project that is a Base ecosystem right over here, Aerodrome, which we talked about today. Okay guys, that wraps it up for this video. I hope that you found some valuable information that adds to your journey in crypto and that you could see how I'm thinking about things. I still believe we're early to Base, so there will be plenty of opportunities. So if you like this video, please consider subscribing towards my channel and I'll continue to bring you information like this. I will see you next time.